On today's podcast episode, we're going to be wrestling with what does it look like to talk to God. Actually, I'm really excited that Chase is here with me again, joining me because this question was actually submitted by a youth group kid.
One of my students.
Yeah, one of your students. And so I'm excited to have you kind of wrestle through this with us. Chase has been going through on Sunday mornings with his students. He's had them submit questions as well. This is one of the questions I got brought up, and I thought it'd be a cool one for us to wrestle through. So, Chase, the question was, how do I speak or how do I talk to God? And before we get into that, I just love the heart behind that we have teenagers in our church family that are longing for the heart of God, longing to speak to Him, longing to commune with Him, longing to be in a relationship with Him, and they just want to make sure they're doing it right.
Right.
So I hope that's encouraging. Before we even get into that, I hope that's encouraging to you as you're watching this, that we have young people in this church who long to hear and to speak to their Creator. So, Chase, I'd love to hear what you've been wrestling through and teaching them. Well, what does it look like to talk to God? How do we speak to God?
First of all, I love this question because it just it gives me a little bit of an understanding of where our kids are at, right? So, like our students, we've got some on the realm of asking about, I don't know when the other episode is coming out. Maybe this is a sneak peek. We've got students asking about apostasy and next level, deep theological questions. And then you've got some students who are just trying to figure out who God is to them. You know what I mean? They don't really maybe necessarily believe in the one true God, but they believe that there's a higher power or something like that. And they're searching, they're trying to figure it out. And so these are some of the questions that they send in. And it's really encouraging to me to know that the next generation is looking for the truth, right? And so when I come across a question like this, I'm always encouraged because it's like, you're wanting to know, you're wanting to figure it out, and that's that just makes me so excited and happy, and it makes me feel as if though the next generation isn't just lost. You know what I mean? They're wanting to find some sort of substance beyond just worldly desires,
because it is a hopeful thing. It is because I think we wonder, especially as adults, we wonder and we worry about the generation that's coming. Are they getting lost on the internet? They're getting lost to false truths because there's so many out there. They're claiming to be truthful, but they're not. Are they being led astray? And it's really cool to see this turning point in the next generation that they don't just trust everything hook, line, and sinker, but that they actually want to say, where's the proof? Where is the truth I can stand on? And when they find it in God, then their strength, their faith is even more empowered because they can go say, this is how I prove it. This is how I prove it. This is how I prove it. It's a really cool shift.
Yeah, and to answer the original question of just how do I correctly talk to God? This is what I would tell a student, right? It's like a phone call, okay? So for all intents and purposes, let's just pretend, because students love to pretend, okay? I am a sinful human being, which is true. That is a true thing. That's a true statement. But I am a sinful, regular day dude that has really wanted to dive into his relationship with Jesus a little bit more. And you get to play the part of Jesus, right?
Yes.
I know. Woohoo!
It's the beard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the beard. And the woodworking and all that, But no, so this is what I tell the students. I say, it's like a phone call conversation. Because here's the deal. They don't understand what, dialing is, how you had to use in the Nokia and all the the brick phones,
I don't get it.
Yeah, they don't understand that. They know hey Siri, call mom, that don't actually do that. But that's what they get. So I try and frame it in a mind that they would understand, right? Yeah. And so this is what I say. It's like a phone call to Jesus, but this is it's like a special phone call. You can't, most times when you call your mom, I call my mom all the time when I'm driving to and from the church. All the time. It's like my ritual. I do it all the time. It's my thing. I
call mine too.
It's just what you have to do. You have to do it, And so sometimes she doesn't answer. And when she doesn't answer, I'm like, oh, fine, I'll listen to Brandon Lake. You know what I mean? It's fine, whatever.
I guess I'll listen to this.
I guess I'll listen to music. But, I wanted to call my mom. The special part about this phone call with God, though, is that He always answers.
Yes.
And so it's like this. If you're Jesus and I'm just regular old Dave, right? I can pick up the phone and say, hey, Jesus, this is what's going on. You know what I mean? And Jesus will always answer.
What's up?
And so I always try and frame it in that way because of two reasons. One, it's truth, right? When we pray, when we bow our heads, or sometimes prayer doesn't even look like, the holiest of things, you do this. You know, it can look like a little conversation on the way home.
Yeah.
It can look like a phone call conversation with your mom on the way home from work.
Yeah.
It can look like, that's what it can look like. It can be in your mind. It can be, you know, out loud. It can be all sorts of different ways, and it's a special way of communicating with God. It's not like it's like a phone call that gets answered every single time.
Yeah.
And you can be honest, you can be mad, you can be angry. I know a lot of people, professors even that I know from when I was in school, just all kinds of ways to talk to God, and with all kinds of language, you know, like whether it's pretty or not, like they can talk to God. And here's the fun thing about God. He can handle it. Like, it's not like he's like, oh, I'm offended by what you just said, you know? Which is what I think that generation kind of deals with a lot, right?
Yeah.
They feel like they can't talk to one another because they don't want to offend somebody, or they don't want to step on people's toes, or, you know, that's not with God, you know? Like, God died and then resurrected and said, yeah, watch that. Like, come on now. Like, what's up, you know? Death has no reign over me, you know? Like, that's what he's saying. And so it's like, we think that we can offend God. No, pick up the call and be angry. Obviously, you know, don't be angry with God, because that's never going to end out well for your own favor. Just ask Job.
But he can handle it.
But the point is that he can handle it. You know what I mean? And he'll help you, and he'll guide you through that anger, and, you know, in the same way that he did Job. Or, you know, he'll guide you through the loneliness. He'll guide you through the depression. He'll guide you through, you know, the financial worries that you have, you know, the anxieties, which, by the way, buzzword right there, anxieties, that's the next generation. That's what it's going to be defined as, because, man, is it just running rampant in our kids and in our students. And I don't know, I don't really have an answer as to why, but what I do have an answer is, hey, there's somebody that will always listen to you.
Yeah.
Might not always say something verbally back to you, you know, but he will always pick up that phone call, and he will always answer you in some way, shape, or form. You just got to be on the lookout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. And I appreciate you stepping into this and helping us think through that. And if you're struggling with talking to God or learning how to talk to him, reach out. We'd love to help you. God is always there. He's an omnipresent God who's everywhere all the time, all at once, and is doing his best to reach out to you. We just learn to listen as well.
One more thing.
Yeah.
I just would feel awful if I didn't say this, because it just came to me. But in Romans 12, it says, keep your mind on things above, set on things above. And so it's like, not only will you call him, but when you hang up and the conversation is over and you're no longer talking to him, it is so easy for then the devil to get into your mind and just completely convince you that what you just did in calling Jesus, right, was worthless and stupid and dumb, and like, oh, that's dumb. But as Paul writes in Romans 12, keep your mind on things above. Remind yourself constantly of the good things that Jesus has done in your life.
Yes.
Because then when you pick up the phone call next time, it's not going to be anger. It's not going to be anxiety. It's not going to be all the depression and the loneliness and the financial troubles or whatever. It's going to be, God, thank you. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for this moment and this moment, which is our true and proper worship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where we get to genuinely worship Jesus by saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for all of these things, because it's true, right? He gave us a second chance at life. He gave us the opportunity, John 3:16, to just kind of, you know, live in his eternal glory for the rest of his life, or for the rest of our lives. And so it's like, keep your mind on things above. Keep your mind focused on the positive things that Jesus does in your life. You know, and then when you pick up that phone call is going to look way different. Yeah. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
Anyways, that was my last little...
That's a good wrap-up, man.
My last little tangent.
I hope you have a great day in church until we see each other again. You are sent. Have a great day.